Hello, I'm Colie Otzel. Welcome to America's Salon Academy, the podcast. I believe that success leaves clues, so listen closely as I discuss life and business with some of the world's best hair artists. My guest for today is a freelance hairstylist currently based out of Providence, Rhode Island. She has been doing hair for 11 years and is a member of Modern Salon's Artist Connective Group. She is a one-shot hair awards finalist and a badass when it comes to updo. For today is Emily Buffi. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I am great. I'm so excited to have you on here. Your updos are like out of this world.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is my first podcast, so thank you for having me.
Oh, yes. So where are you from? Are you from Rhode Island?
Pretty much. I was born in Massachusetts. My dad lives in Massachusetts. My mom's in Rhode Island. So majority of my life was in Rhode Island, but I'm a little bit Massachusetts too.
Okay. So what did your mom do for a living, like when you were growing up?
So my mom, was a little all over the place, but mainly she actually did dinner theater. My mom is a really good singer, and
wow.
She's a bit dramatic, so it went hand in hand. And she was always in the city in Providence doing that, and I was always in awe because I can't sing or stand in front of people and sing.
Oh, that's cool. And what did your dad do?
My dad works for computers. He works at MIT Lincoln Laboratory. What in computers? He's going to hate me for this, but I believe it's in networking. I never fully understand the tech world, but yeah, he's been doing that for as long before I was born.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. So you didn't get any of those genes, huh?
I did not.
I didn't either. So what did you do for fun when you were growing up?
I'm a bit of a nature bug. I feel like I'm a hippie at heart. As long as I'm outside, I'm fine. Put me in the sun, put me in the woods, the beach, anything. You couldn't keep me inside, and you couldn't keep my shoes on. My mom literally would yell at me all the time because I still now when I do hair, if I can go barefoot, I do. I just love it.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I was the same kind of child. I never wanted to have shoes on.
I love it.
So, do you have siblings?
I do. It's funny. I'm an only child and the oldest of 5. And I love telling people that because they're like, wait, what? My parents had me and then they split apart, and when I was very little, I think 2. And then my mom had a brother and a sister with my brother and my sister. And then my dad had 2 boys. So I have 3 brothers and 1 sister.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's sort of a big family.
It is. My mom is also one of 7, and
holy cow.
They each had at least 3 or 4 children. So I have over 20 cousins. I don't know small when it comes to family.
Wow. That's cool though. That's always fun.
It's like anything else, a gift and a curse. It's a blessing because I always have someone to talk to. I always have someone to hang out with. But at the same time, there's always someone here, someone calling me.
Right. So how old were you when you started to figure out that you wanted to do hair for your career?
I should have known all along. I went to community college first, got my associate's degree, and then I went to a 4-year school where I started doing marine biology. And after about a year of that, when I realized I couldn't just work at SeaWorld, I was living with my friend at the time, and her little sister was going to hair school, and she was practicing on people in the kitchen, and I was so amazed. I was just like, I felt it inside me, like I need to know this trade. So I told my father that I was leaving school and going to hair school, and he sang beauty school dropout to me for about a year.
Oh my goodness.
But now he is, after many years of watching what I'm going through and seeing how happy I am, he called me one day. I was like, no, I think you really did make the right decision.
Oh, wow. That means a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And he's doing computers. He understands the trade industry. So when I told him that, also, he sat me down and was like, I want you to know that your life will never be the same. Your friends and family will always ask you to do their hair, fix their hair.
Right.
Are you sure you're okay with that? And I was like, oh yeah, it's great. And sometimes now I'm like, I understand now.
That's really funny. I wish somebody would have warned me about that.
Right. Right. I'll be at a birthday party and someone's not even blown out the candles, and my family member leans in and is like, can you cut my hair?
Oh
Which I
my
don't even
gosh.
do.
I know. And they say, did you bring your scissors with you? Like,
Yeah.
no, I didn't.
They're in my back pocket. How'd you know?
Right. So did you have any mentors?
Definitely. I had a few friends who were in the industry as well. So it was always nice to lean on that. And I feel like I was in the cusp of social media world when I started. Like, Facebook was definitely more the mainstream thing then, and that helped connect me with more and more people in my trade. So I tried to reach out to them and they would reach out to me, and it's really nice to have a community like
Right.
that, you know?
So how did you get connected with them? Did you get connected with them through Facebook then?
Yeah, so I used to be like the Facebook pages. It would just be like Rhode Island Hair Group, or
Oh, okay.
yeah, updos only, you know. And then now with Instagram, I feel like I have a whole nother family.
Right. Wow, that's really interesting. So just a quick question for you, because I
Yeah.
always find this interesting. How much time do you think that you would spend on social media a day, just like interacting and, making people aware of your brand and things like that?
I would say on and off, probably at least an hour and a half a day. And that's probably on the lower end.
Right.
I feel like it's my right hand. I tell people all the time, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful, but you do have to put the work in. It is a part-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you love it, then it's fun.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like, personally for me, I don't really love it. So it's like a whole nother thing that I have to, like, push myself,
Yeah. So you probably dread doing that. And then
Yeah.
so I totally understand that. You know how, like, iPhones now too, at the end of the week will tell you your screen time? I like dread that.
Right.
Oh my goodness. What?
I
If it's like,
dedicated this much of my life. Yeah.
yeah. If it's like you've gone down 10%, it's like, yes.
That's funny. And then for sure you're going back up, though. That's the thing. You're like, oh, I did good this week, but next week,
Absolutely. Yes.
So how long would you say it took in the industry before you really felt like you were gaining some success or some momentum?
I would say probably pretty recently, within the last year. I've been doing it for 11 years, but I didn't start really my Instagram till about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
And the connections and the opportunities I have made through that are unbelievable. I mean, I used to have Modern Salon magazine. I subscribed to it and I would look at it thinking, like, it was just the best thing in the world. And to be a part of it, when I got their message, I just started crying in my car. I could cry right now just thinking about it.
Wow.
So to have that happen in a year and a half, it's blowing my mind still. I'm waiting to wake up.
So tell me about the message. What did they send to you?
So they reached out and sent me, it was right before I was about to do a wedding, and I saw it really quick. And they asked me if I wanted to be a part of their Artist Connective, and I think I had to read it like 5 times to make sure it was real.
Right. Like, not a fake account. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you want me, right? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, I of course instantly said yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So have you ever had, like, any fears,
Oh,
that you had to overcome?
so many. Let me whip out my list.
Right.
I actually left the industry for 2 years. I just was feeling really unconfident about what I was doing, and I had a couple of weddings where, people always ask you for bridezillas, but I really would think it should be momzillas.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they can be a little rough, and I had a couple of experiences where you know, some moms just made me feel like I was very inadequate and that I was in the wrong industry. And I truly felt that from the bottom of my heart, that I was just not going to make it. So I took a break and really thought about what I wanted to do. And one of my friends, that actually made me make the Instagram came up to me and was like, I can't believe you quit. You were so good. And that blew my mind. I was just so down at that point that I just didn't believe it anymore. So once I heard that, she gave me a little bit of confidence, and I kind of just started playing with it more. And once I practiced, it was just practice, because in New England, there's a wedding season and there's a lot of downtime when it snows. So you have to almost relearn once wedding season starts. And now that I'm doing like my Instagram, I'm doing hair all year long and practicing so much more. And I feel so much more confident that I just do my best. And now I know if I'm doing my best, that's all I can do. If I'm happy with it, and I try to do really good consultations and try to give them the best, but I just try to work really hard. And if I'm happy with it, I hope they will be.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. That's great advice.
Thank you.
So, let me see here. Yeah, I was like so into what you were saying. I like lost where I was.
That's totally okay. I actually, when I left the hair industry too, I played around with jewelry a little bit, and I thought I was going to be a jewelry maker. And once I got back into hair, I was like, what was I thinking? Like, I love hair so much more.
Yeah, well, maybe you can put them together. I know you do with your updos.
I've been thinking about making my leftover jewelry supplies into hair accessories. So
yeah, that would be awesome.
I totally believe everything happens for a reason.
For sure.
You know?
So when did you like truly feel proud of yourself? Because if you start to feel sort of down and then you have this like momentum that brings you back up, at what point did you really start to just be proud of yourself?
I would say once I just started practicing, and I had like a few, like I have my own technique to updos. And once I got that down and how to break down pictures in Pinterest, that's where I started feeling way more confident and taking it slow. I mean, I set a bar really high for myself, and I'm realizing that more and more lately. And I feel like that's every artist.
Right.
It's just never good enough, and you always want to be better. So I do strive for that, but I think just practice is, anytime someone messages me is like, I can never do what you do. I'm like, listen, I went to hair school and I could not braid anything. I was curling wrong. I wasn't doing anything. I spent money to get an education, and then I practice. If you love something and you practice it, you're going to eventually feel confident.
I love that so much, because I can actually remember one of the very first like educator trainings that I did. I was so proud of myself, like I got in, I was going to do all this stuff. And then they did this like crown braid where you had to take all of the hair and sort of wrap it all the way into a circle. And I could not get it. And there was people in this class that did it in like a half an hour. And I'm over here like 3 hours later, still frustrated with myself. And I remember I came home and I did it 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 like 5 times just to be able to do it. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody else was probably done with it, very quickly, didn't think about it again. But I was so frustrated with myself that I just couldn't get this like simple braid,
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand that.
So yeah, I feel you. That's sort of how artists are. And it's funny too, because I notice when I see updos, like some of your updos or some really great updos, I almost love that they're not polished, like the imperfection of it, because it's like you don't have that much control,
Yeah, I love that, because I'm all about messy. I would say if I had to pick one thing, texture is more my MO than anything else.
Yeah.
I can do smooth and sleek, but texture is just my jam.
Right. Yeah. We all have like our thing.
Yes. And it is, like you said, it is hard too when people around you are getting things and you're not. It's very discouraging. And I had that in hair school. There was one haircut I couldn't get. And I remember the teacher pulling me aside and being like, you don't have to be perfect at everything. And,
right.
And I feel like a lot of us think that there's a lot of aspects of hair and there's no reason you have to be able to do them all.
Yeah. Definitely. That's very true. And that's very good advice for somebody starting out, because I was definitely that person too, where I felt like I had to nail everything that I did. And then it's just ridiculous how hard you are on yourself, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm
So,
not alone.
no, definitely not. I'm sure there's plenty of us perfectionists out there.
Definitely.
Okay, so if I took a step into your life, just like your daily routines, what would I see? Do you do like, do you have any type of routines that you do every day? Do you meditate? I mean, is there anything that you do specifically every day?
Yeah. I try to meditate, maybe not every day, like once a week. I also am into nature photography.
Okay.
So I try to feed birds in the morning, and in the afternoon, if I'm home, I try to capture, like take a break from whatever I'm doing and spend a few minutes trying to capture that. Um, I have the regular to-do list of cleaning my house and surviving. But mainly I'm with my husband. I spend a lot of time with him, and he's been amazing through this whole thing. I wouldn't even be, I like to tell him, I'm the all-powerful Oz, and he's the man behind the curtain.
Oh,
I mean, even my Instagram name, my handle, I get a lot of compliments, and I wouldn't have the last name if it wasn't for him.
yeah, that is a
Yeah.
cool last name, I have to say. So I want to go back to you feeding birds. That's
Yes.
the first I've ever heard somebody say that. How do you like? Is it like a Cinderella moment where like the food's like actually in your hand and they come to you, or how does that work?
I wish there are parks in Massachusetts near me that you can do that, where the birds are so familiar with it that they will. I haven't been up there yet, but I really want to. I do have some bird feeders. My husband tells me all the time I'm a 90-year-old woman stuck in a young body,
Oh,
um, which is fine with me. I will feed the birds, and then I sit on a stoop that's kind of shaded so I don't feel like they notice me. Or I have sat in a bush in parks. Like, I will get down and dirty just to get, my favorite thing is trying to capture a bird when they're in flight, so you can see the feathers and see the wings, and I feel like I really earn something from that moment. So
wow.
it can take me quite a while and many, many pictures to get one image, but to me it's worth it because I'm outside too, so it's really not bad.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you have that connection. I actually feel like that with water. Like when I
Yeah.
get close to water and close to nature, and like, it's soft but strong, that kind of thing. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I really like photographing waves too. My All the bridal hair I do is right in Newport, Rhode Island, which is right on the beach. So anytime I can, I just stop on the beach, even if it's the winter, and I'll just take photographs of water or the seagulls.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So, do you do like, do you go to the gym? Do you drink smoothies? Or are you kind of more like a pizza and beer kind of person?
Yeah, pizza, maybe a little bit of wine. I like to work out, but I'm more, you kind of have to trick me into it. Like, I'd rather climb a mountain and get to the top and like, oh, I just worked out. Rather, I can't be inside. I can't work out inside. It just doesn't feel right to me. So wintertime, I pretty much don't work out.
Yeah.
We do have a track near us. There's like a baseball field with a track, and I go there and I work out. But it's been quite a while. I wish I could say I've been there more than I have.
So, here's a fun question.
Yeah.
And I know that you're young, but do you think that you will ever retire from the industry?
I don't know if I fully ever will. I have learned over the past however many years to stop planning what I think my future is going to be, because it is definitely evolves on its own, and the more I feel like I just let it grow naturally and do what I like, that it just works out better. So all the plans I've ever had for the future kind of just change anyway.
That's true.
And I need to keep my mind busy. I'm slightly ADD, so I feel like I'll always have a little bit of my hand in the industry. I have a few goals for the future of maybe possibly traveling and education, playing around with that. So I don't know if I'll always be in the same place with hair, but definitely always around it.
Still being a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about some exciting news that you have coming up. I know that we talked a little bit earlier about you have like a YouTube channel that you're starting.
Yeah, I really, the number one question I get on Instagram is, how do I do this? How do you do this? Please make tutorials. And I am a perfectionist when it comes to photography and composition, a little too much, where I get crazy. So I've been working on it for a while, and I know people are like, please, they don't care. They just want to see how I do it. But I'm really excited about that. I feel like education is definitely a step I want to lean towards. So I feel like that's a really good step. And there's not a whole lot of professional people on YouTube.
Right.
There's amazing girls who they do updos on themselves, and they can't even see it. I have no idea how they do that. I feel like they're magical.
Right.
But I feel like having it from a professional standpoint is good too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually see that quite a bit on Instagram, is like, YouTube is not beauty school, you know?
Yes, exactly. You do need the foundation of it first.
For sure. Yeah. So I'm excited that you're actually going to be on there, and I'm sure you'll have tons of success, because there's just so many great pictures that you put out there, and just, it's really, really amazing the work that you do, and we would all benefit from that. So giving up your secrets would be great.
I'm an open book when it comes to that. I'm like, ask me anything. I'll send you links to what I buy. Like, I'm not that person who does it and says, nope, figure it out on yourself. Like, please, anything you want to know, I will tell you. Because I feel like even if you replicate it, it's your own thing. It's never exactly the same. So
exactly. That's exactly right. Like with all forms of art, that's the way it is. I mean, you can give somebody the same paints and they're not going to paint the same painting. You know, it's
exactly.
just, yeah. So I'm with you. I agree with that 100%. Education is actually like my personal love. And so when I hear somebody say something like that, it just floats my boat. Yeah, because I mean, that's really what it is. There's no reason, you know. I remember when I started in the industry, there was a lot of people, especially like color formulations. There was a lot of like, people would write it like in their book and never share anything. And so the fact that I'm seeing this a lot more with these educators that are coming through, that they're an open book and they're willing to give you everything and show you all the ins and outs. And I love that so much, that people nowadays are so willing to just give you what they have.
I agree. I see it more and more. Obviously my Instagram is a little bit more concentrated in the beauty section. But people are just it feels like they're not competing as much. Like, we're more working together and inspiring each other. And that makes me so happy. So I don't like competition because I'm too competitive. So I don't want to compete. I just want to work together.
Yeah.
And be my true hippie self.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we're all kind of there, you know, and we're all just sort of ready to move forward together and bring people with us, and just welcome them. And like we said, just give them any tips that we can and just bring them right along. I think that that's amazing. And I think that you're a great example of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so kind.
Yeah. So, Emily, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being your true self with me today. And I loved sharing all of this information, and it was so fun having you on here. And I guess we'll be seeing you at the BTC Awards, right?
You will. Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing. I loved it so much.
And I realize time is extremely valuable, and I appreciate you sharing your time with me today.
Anytime.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
For more salon and business education, visit americassalonacademy.com.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's gradation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money for your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.